Yes, you may.
State's Exhibit 28 was taken at the scene. And if you would note whether there's any blood present in that photograph.
Yes, there's some blood around the nipple.
And if you would look at State's Exhibit 95, which was represented as being taken at the time of the autopsy, but before the body was cleaned. Do you see any blood in that picture?
No. In the original photo, there's a stream of blood running down from the nipple, down from the wound to the nipple, and that's missing in this photograph.
Evidently, someone cleaned it.
Yeah, it's been cleaned.
Question as to argumentative and speculation.
Sustained is to speculation, overruled is to argumentative.
Thank you.
Dr. DiMaio, the last two photographs that were shown, do
Yes.
you remember what the ones that were shown?
Yeah,
One at
that's
the
the,
scene.
I'm sorry, what?
I apologize. May I approach the witness, Your Honor?
Yeah, the gunshot wound, one taken at the scene,
One
allegedly.
taken at the scene, State's Exhibit 28. Doesn't that show that the sweatshirt is up,
Yeah, but it's been pulled up.
right? And if it's at the scene while they're transporting the body, and the body comes to the medical examiner's office with their sweatshirt down, wouldn't that absorb the blood there?
May I see the other photograph?
Sure.
Well, since it's not here, it's been removed, so it's been pulled off. So if you're asking me, could it have wiped the blood up as it was being pulled off? Sure.
In other words, you would expect the blood in the sweatshirt, correct?
Right.
Now, you were asked a bunch of questions by Mr. West. You agree that Mr. West testifying is not evidence, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And would you use Mr. West's statements to form your opinion?
No, sir, I used the autopsy report and the laboratory reports to form my opinion.
And the autopsy report, that was the one that you mentioned prepared by Dr. Bell, correct?
Right, and the photographs plus the firearms report to form my opinion, yes, sir.
And you agree there was an absence of any x-rays or other actual proof of a broken nose, correct?
That's correct, sir.
And you agree that there was absence of documentation of any kind of concussion or brain injury or brain bleeding, correct?
Oh, yes, sir.
And you agree that there was absence of any proof of anything being washed off the victim's body?
I can't say whether it was washed or not. What I said is that if that shirt was lying on there and they pulled it off, they could have wiped off some of the blood. And that's why you're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to take the photograph of the wound intact before you clean it. And so there was a big no-no there,
Okay.
either way.
Are you saying that at the scene, the medical examiner personnel should remove the clothing of the victim, or should the clothing remain on the victim until he's transported to the ME's office?
No, what I'm saying is that the clothing should remain on the body, so the photograph taken at the scene, that's proper. But when they got to the medical examiner's office, they shouldn't have pulled, if they wanted photographs of the scene as received, they shouldn't have undressed the body or pulled anything off, because they would be wiping it. And then the rest of but the whole chest is clean and such. So, you know, the techniques weren't exactly correct. Let's put it that way.
But you did rely on Dr. Bao's report in terms of his findings, correct?
I had no other choice, sir.
Okay. And based on your observations of the photographs, they document what occurred in terms of the gun, right?
Yeah.
You're not disputing that?
Right, the photographs of the wound were the best thing.
Do you have absence, is there any absence of evidence that anything was washed by the rain?
It would have to be, you have to know how much it's raining there, and you'd have to have an observation.
Pure
It could be
speculation.
washed away by the rain.
Pure speculation, correct?
Yeah, unless you were there and saw how much it was washed away.
And there was an absence of vomiting, right? You didn't see any vomiting out there, correct? And finally, you were asked about John Good, what he testified. Do you agree that a jury that heard John Good's testimony should rely on what he said on the witness stand? Correct? And here's what I'm getting at.
It's kind of interesting. If he's got a good statement at the time and then he testifies something else on the witness stand, you begin to wonder.
Okay.
You know? I mean, I think that's up for the jury to consider.
Right. My question is, if John Good testified he neither saw nor heard any blows landing, and neither saw nor heard anything being slammed on the sidewalk, does the physical evidence, is that what then you rely on?
No, I wouldn't. I told you I didn't rely anything on his statement.
Oh, you completely disregarded John Good?
No, I disregarded the witnesses because the problem what I was trying to do was essentially take Mr. Zimmerman's statement and see whether the physical evidence was supported it or invalidated his statements.
So,
Because the witnesses, they're all over the place. You can't use the witnesses to make autopsy decisions.
but isn't what George Zimmerman, the defendant, is relaying to the police, isn't he affect a witness in terms of what happened?
Yes.
Okay.
But that's why you don't believe him and you do the tests and look at the autopsy to check what he said matches what you find at the body.
Right. And what you did is you relied on one of his statements, and the bottom line is what you can say is the gun was out and it was 2 inches from the body.
2 to 4 inches
I'm sorry,
from
2
the
to 4
body.
inches,
Right.
correct? Thank you.
One very narrow area. On this notion of the absence of evidence not being evidence of absence notion, if Mr. Good didn't testify that he heard George Zimmerman's head hitting cement like this in some way, does that in any way mean that Mr. Zimmerman's head didn't actually get hit on the cement?
No.
Same thing, if Mr. Good didn't hear Trayvon Martin hit George Zimmerman in the head like this, does that mean George Zimmerman didn't get hit in the head to cause the injuries that you saw?
No.
Thank you.
Thank you. May Dr. DiMaio be excused?
Yes, Your Honor.